Welcome, everyone, to another episode of 7 Minutes. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Chris Wright. I got my lovely friend here, Beverly Swim. Say hello. And today, Beverly is going to lead the interview with Mr. Brian Brosen.
Well,
Good
hi,
evening.
Brian. Thanks so much for being here. Brian is an associate broker and founding partner of the Capital Team, which he started in 2004. Brian has built his reputation by proving that he truly cares about his clients and their needs and desires in real estate. Brian assists them with residential, commercial, land and development, as well as landlord and tenant representation. We are very thankful to Brian for his work with street soldiers who help the disadvantaged and homeless in Schenectady, and also near and dear to my heart because my daughter worked with this organization in high school. He's worked with Best Buddies, assisting those with developmental and intellectual disabilities. And God bless you and your partner, Brian, for sharing your heart in adopting three children, three special needs children. So thank you so much for being here. And you've got a lot on your plate. You've got a lot going on, Brian. What are your keys to success?
Keys to success, honestly, it's I've gotten a lot better at time management as life goes on. I'm kind of built for the schedule I have. I get bored very easy. So I go shiny object to shiny object. So the fact, with being a real estate broker, and Chris knows this from being in the field, but things change minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day. There's no 2 days that are alike, which I love about my job. I love that. And I've just gotten better over time with literally time management. And I schedule things. I schedule phone calls with people. People are like, can I talk to you? And I'm like, yeah, how about Thursday at 3? I mean, if it's urgent, we'll do it sooner. But I do a lot of scheduling and time blocking, as other people have told me to do. And then that's what I do. So there's no real secret to what I do. But I do well with kind of bouncing around. I go from thing to thing to thing, and that way I don't get bored. I get bored very easily. So if I keep a lot of irons in the fire, I'm a happy guy.
A lot of people have trouble with time management, staying focused, staying motivated, all of that. What would you suggest for them?
I don't know what works for anybody else. I can only ever speak for me. But I will tell you that, like, I got a lot of friends who do coaches and schedules and all these things. My motivation, I like a roof over my head. I like food. I like to go do things. So I just get up and I work. I grew up down in Columbia County. I grew up in a family that's got, farms and things like this. And you didn't sit around. I watched my dad work 3 jobs when I was a kid. I never saw my dad when I was a kid, it seemed like, but he was working 3 jobs to support 5 children. And I grew up with I think a pretty good work ethic, a very, what I call blue collar type work ethic. And that's just what I do every day. I just get up and go. I don't sleep a lot. My mind's always rolling. So I just I just go, I just move. If you keep moving, you'll do okay.
Well, I actually come from a farming background myself, from Kentucky. And part of that is that you care. So now I can totally understand how you got to be this caring real estate agent, because you've got to care about the animals. You got to care about the land. You got to care about the people around. You got to care about the people that are working there. So that all ties in. I guess that's where you got it from.
Yeah, I mean, everything in this world is connected. If you start, the older you get, the more, at least for me, the older I've gotten, the more I've put things together, and things make sense, and I see the connectedness of everything. But what you put out is what you get back. I'm a firm believer in that. My partner preaches that all the time. I mean, Reggie, I give Reggie a lot of credit in my world, because I tell everybody, if it wasn't for Reggie, I mean, I'd probably be, I don't know, off in a corner babbling or something. He keeps me focused. He's an amazing human being. His capacity to love something or somebody is incredible. And he's given me the stability. That's the key thing. He's given me the stability so that I can go out and be me and do what I do. And I know that I've got him in the background, and he's amazing like that. He doesn't care about any of the fame or the glory or credit or anything. He just does stuff because he cares. And I learned from him, and I learned from that a lot.
So, hey,
Sounds like
Brian,
sounds like you balance each other out really well.
We do.
Go ahead, Chris.
you have always been known for the cowboy hat. Did you throw that away? You're not doing that anymore?
No. So the cowboy hat, obviously, I've been known for that for a long time. And honestly, there's not been a better marketing thing I could have done in my life or career.
Right.
For the price of $100 cowboy hat, I have done millions of dollars worth of real estate because of that hat. I have.
I know.
Listen, when I used to walk down the street picking up like an open house sign, people would pull over. I was doing an open house in Mariahville Lake. People would pull over on the side of the road and go, "I've got a real estate agent, but I needed to talk to you." I would go into my old office in Guilderland, and people would call and go, "I don't know his name, but a guy wears a cowboy hat and I have to talk to him." And the cowboy hat got me it opened a lot of doors, got me in a lot of conversations, broke a lot of ice and a lot of mixers. And so that's always gotten me to the table. And then then it was up to me to, close the deal or get the business or make something happen. But I'm not wearing the cowboy hat tonight, Chris, just because.
I know. I got a funny story about the cowboy hat, and you probably remember this. I saw Brian in a bar one time and didn't recognize him. Remember that? I walked in, you were like, "Hey, Chris." I was like, "Who?" You were like, "Brian." I was like, "Oh my God." I had never seen him without the cowboy hat prior to that. So when this guy is sitting in a bar in a ball cap, I was like, "Hey, Chris Wright." I was like, "Who are you?"
Well, everybody knows you, Chris. See, if I don't wear a cowboy hat, sometimes I'm honestly not recognized. I could be going through Hannaford with a cowboy hat on, and somebody will come up to me. So I got to the point where I would not wear it all the time.
True.
Because literally I would get stopped a lot, which is a good thing. But also I'm kind of people don't believe this, but I'm a shy person. So the cowboy hat actually, I would walk into meetings or appointments or mixers, and people would come to me, and it made life easier for me. So it served a lot of purposes. I still have a couple cowboy hats and all that stuff. I'm just,
It's funny you mentioned it's funny you mentioned being shy, because that has been like a topic of conversation a lot lately. In our last interview we just talked to an introverted person, and I also posted on Facebook yesterday about being an introvert or being shy in business. So it's funny that you pointed that out. How have you been able to overcome that?
Well, first off, luckily, I'm very confident in what I do in my job and my knowledge, my skills, what I bring to the table. So that makes up for a lot of it. I've been asked to do a lot of interviews over the years. I do occasional speaking engagements. That's helped me. I'm not a great public speaker. I've got probably a good message to give some days, but I'm not much of a public speaker. I thought about joining that. There's a public speaking club, Toastmasters.
Toastmasters, yeah, I'm in it.
You did that, right?
Yes, I'm in Toastmasters. Yes.
Okay, I thought about joining it,
You should.
but I don't know. That's I don't know if I want to overcome that fear just yet. So
It sounds like you don't need it at this point.
I don't know. I don't know. I really just gaining confidence in myself and in what I do and what I bring to the table. That's helped a lot for me, really.
Yeah, you manage a team, right?
Yeah, we run a small team. I've been running teams I've been in real estate for 19 years. So 18 of those years we've been running a team. So, and that even how we do that has fluctuated and changed. Everything, a good rule in life is nothing is permanent. So like, how I teach now or coach or mentor now is not how I did it 10 years ago. And, how I do everything is, change, ebbs and flows and changes.
Are you changing how you lead your team?
Yeah, just maybe the amount of interaction or just, the engagement or the style or whatever. Also, it depends on the people I'm working with. I respond to energy. I respond to vibes, as I call it. I'm big on vibes. Everything in my world is vibes. I'm like a hippie. So it's, if somebody's with me and they're engaged and they're active and I'm right there. If you bring low energy, I have to work, I have to work through that. So I feed off of all of that.
Interesting, interesting. It's so funny, Brian. You and I work in the same industry. This is your reputation, just so you know. And I believe there's other realtors who probably feel the same way. If they're competing against you in a listing appointment and someone says, "Oh, our agent is Brian Brosen," I prefer to just leave the table. That's how much I respect you. And I think that other agents probably feel the same way. I think that you just have that presence. You're nothing but positivity most of the time. So I just wanted to commend you for that. Is that I think when a lot of realtors hear your name in transactions, we know that client's with a good person. And that's what's important in our industry.
Wow.
That is an
Wow.
amazing view. So congratulations on that.
That honestly, you're going to make me cry. That honestly is, wow. That's Chris. That's like, wow. And
Well, I
hearing that
mean it
from
when
you and hearing that from you, Chris, because Chris, I mean, the whole mutual admiration society here, I have so much respect for you and
thank you.
really love you and dig you. But to hear that from you, it's weird because I know I have got a really good reputation in amongst my colleagues and in the business. I do know that. I appreciate it. I respect that. I love it. To hear it is something different. And I will tell you, it's taken me a long time to get comfortable with people viewing me like that. People tell me, I've heard over the years, you're people call me an influential member of the community or something
True.
like that. And that's weird some days, but I have worked hard in my life to accept that and like be comfortable with it. And that's been a process for me. And I don't know if I don't hear a lot of business owners or entrepreneurs sometimes talk about that. I mean, there's the whole fake it till you make it. And I did that when I got into business.
Right.
But like when people started looking to me as some sort of leader in the business or whatever it was, that used to make me very uncomfortable. And I used to feel inadequate when they would say that. But I've really over the last few years kind of embraced, I guess, that reputation, and I appreciate that reputation, and I'm a lot more comfortable with it.
What would you advise young agents, new agents? What would you advise them to do to try and gain that kind of respect?
Honestly, there's a few things. First off, and I hear this a lot, and I don't want this to turn into something like, oh, Brian is great things. This is weird. But I get told all the time by people how real I am or genuine I am. I hear those words all the time from people. And it seems, I'm like, aren't we all? But I guess maybe we're not. So you have to be yourself. My agents who come work with me, the first thing I tell them is figure out what's your vibe and promote that vibe. Be you, because I can't be anything but me. And if I'm genuine and if I'm me, I'm comfortable. That's first thing. Secondly, when I got into business, I didn't have a huge network or book of business or anything to rely on to get business. And I told myself, so I dove in the first year of business. I did really well. They gave me awards and all this nonsense, but I just dove in and I learned. I learned about soils and septics and foundations, and I followed home inspectors around, and I went to home inspections that weren't even my clients. And I followed other agents around and I asked questions, and I used to say to the senior agents, throw me anything you don't want. And I was driving an hour and a half one direction to show a house because they didn't want to do it. But I learned. And a lot of people get into business and want to make a couple of videos and be all flashy, and that's fine, and that's great marketing and all that stuff, but you have to learn the stuff. You have to know how to actually deal with problems and walk your clients through a situation, and you have to do it with some confidence and calmness, typically, So, but if you really learn your craft, learn the business. And the beauty is, I've been doing this 19 years. There's a bunch of stuff I don't know. I get to learn new stuff all the time. I really do. So but learn your stuff. And don't think you just know it all after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or $5 million or whatever it is. Keep learning. And,
So I have a second part to her question.
What's that?
Because since you've had a team for so long, and she just said, what would you tell young people coming into this industry? You groom and basically help develop a lot of young agents. What do you do as a leader? What do you know some of the methods you use to develop them?
Well, it's just literally one-on-one coaching. I spend a lot of time talking to people, listening to people. A lot of it is instilling some confidence in people. They're very unsure. The good agents that I work with and I've worked with over the years, they have, and this seems so easy, basic, but they have really good common sense or good gut instinct and go with those things. You don't have to, some of this stuff you don't have to overthink. This is not rocket science, it's real estate. And most of what we're dealing with is people's emotions and obviously people's money. But money brings in emotions and feelings and a lot of risk and upset and those things. And you have to manage that. But really, I just do a lot of one-on-one coaching with my agents. And it's going through the minutia of, how to write a contract, but then it's teaching them how to ask questions and say, if this comes up, you have to be able to present to the Mr. or Mrs. homeowner or Mr. or Mrs. buyer. If this comes up, we need to do X, Y, or Z. Here, how do you want to do it? It's explaining. So it's really just, I try to do a lot of brain dumps on agents. I just spent an hour and a half with a new guy yesterday, or 2 hours with him, and I just kind of dumped a bunch of stuff on him surrounding contracts.
That's awesome.
So
it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us about your hat?
This hat or the cowboy hat?
No, this hat.
Okay, so this hat literally, actually, I spent a lot of time on Facebook, as you know. There's actually a company called 21 Pineapples. And it's this young man with Down syndrome who started this company, and pineapple is a symbol of hospitality and all of that stuff. So he's got a whole line of clothing branded with Be a Good Human, along with a few other things. So I decided to buy the hat not too long ago. And I wear it a lot just because, honestly, it's a good message. And you wear a hat like this, or the sweatshirt that I've got on that you have not seen yet. But you wear a hat like this or a sweatshirt like this that says "Be good to people." And I will tell you, people, I just got this sweatshirt in the other week. Everywhere I've worn it, people smile at me, people come up to me, people fist bump me. I mean, it's just a good vibe thing. It really is just a good vibe thing.
And they're such simple messages, but they're so powerful. They're good.
Absolutely. But like the sweatshirt I got is Be Good to People. If you go on Facebook, there's a company called Be Good to People, and they got a whole line of clothing. And honestly, I ordered it on like December 21st and got everything that I ordered on December 24th. I was stunned. Like I got it all right before Christmas and all that stuff. They're quick, they're efficient, they're a really cool company. And it's a simple message. I'm about easy, simple messages. Nothing is complicated.
Okay, so we're almost at the end. So we want to ask about some books and stuff.
Okay. So what do you want? Some books that I've read or books that I recommend?
Yeah, books that you recommend, books that have influenced your career, anything like that. Because Beverly loves books, so she's going to write these down.
Okay. So actually, if I go way back to my restaurant career, one of the books that really turned me on and I still love is Positively Outrageous Service. I think it's by T. Scott Gross. And it's just about going above and beyond when dealing with people. And it's about overwhelming people with positive, outrageous service. I used to do that in the restaurant business. I take a little bit into this career.
Did you own a restaurant, or did you work at a restaurant?
I ran restaurants. I went to school for culinary arts, ran restaurants, and from the time I was 13 years old, I was working in a restaurant until I got into real estate.
Anyone we would know?
Anyone you would restaurants? I worked for a bunch of different restaurant owners. So I mean, at one point I was 24 years old and running the Friendlies in Crossgates Mall. Back when it was in Crossgates Mall, I was like one of the youngest managers in the company at the time. I worked for a franchise owner who owned a bunch of different brands and went all over New England, turning around underperforming fast food restaurants and things like that. So I am right before real estate. I was actually working the candy making operation for Tom Main and Krause at Krause's Candy and running the entire candy factory.
I love that
Which was
candy.
a cool job. It was a cool job.
All right, give us another book before we leave.
Another book, Unfuck Yourself.
Unfuck
Honestly,
Yourself.
it's a great book. It's a true title, but it's a simple book. It's actually not complicated. It's about getting out of your own way, getting out of your head, getting out of your own way, and about actually actionable items, service to others, and just kind of getting out of your head so that you can get lost in your head. At least I do. And it's just a fantastic book about getting your head straight and getting out of your own way. And that's a book I highly recommend.
Oh, thanks for that. One quick thing. What's your goal for 2023?
Honestly, just keep doing every day. I don't have a specific goal. My motto for the year, I do a motto every year for the year. Honestly, my phrase for the year is it's lead with love. Everything we do, we're going to lead with love. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to serve people. We're going to take care of people. We're going to sell houses. We're going to do it all with love.
I love it. Well,
that's awesome.
Right. Good closing. On that note, Brian, thanks so much. Remember, you were one of the first people that I thought of when I thought about doing this show, because I know that you're going to get a lot of viewers and people just want to hear what you have to say. So again, thanks a lot for coming, and we'll talk to you soon. You have a great year.
All right.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.